Well, Tennessee goes to the Commonwealth. They beat Kentucky and get back on the winning side of things. And I thought a really impressive comeback performance by the Vols. We're visiting with Jacob Warren now. The Vol Report brought to you by Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. Life is better when you see better. So Tennessee able to control, I thought, the game throughout in beating Kentucky 33-27. We'll talk about that and more. Dante Thornton with a couple of plays. And this guy called Dylan Sampson continues to show that he's pretty special. Jacob, first of all, we appreciate the time as always, and congrats on the win.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Like you said, man, great time up there. It's good to go up there and get a win. I enjoy playing there. I think that's a fun stadium to play at. It reminds me of high school, right? Because we were the big blue back in high school and played on turf field, everything like that. So I usually have a good time at Kentucky for some reason. So
yeah, you definitely had a good time, and it was one of those games. Watching it, the final score was 33-27. So if you're watching the game, you might be kind of like, well, that was pretty close. And they did have a chance to take the lead at one point with the field goal.
Yeah.
But it felt like watching it, I wonder if it felt like this playing it, that you guys were in control of the game throughout. Did it feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way it felt for us. I think it was interesting because just kind of how they played and their fan base and everything was in it the whole time, like we were losing, right? It felt weird. It felt like it was like the roles were reversed and they had all this energy, they had all this momentum, and we were able to just kind of feed off that energy and go out there and continue to fend them off, fight them off. Obviously, it gets pretty close there in the fourth quarter, third quarter, and defense does a great job. Our special teams units do an amazing job, kind of just keeping us in and keeping us getting allowed to get some points whenever we maybe stall out in the red zone or wherever it may be. So, yeah, truly a team win, and just happy to again be on the right side of it.
Been a couple of red zone issues. I've seen that happen before with teams, and sometimes it's just a bad coincidence. Bad plays happen at the wrong time. Is there any common denominator with the red zone issues that you would point to that you guys need to work on?
Like you said, I mean, it's just either bad play, bad time, or just something breaks down in the protection, or something's not happening as fast as it needs to on the perimeter. That might lead to pressure or whatever. Yeah, there's no fingers to be pointed. I think it's just a matter of going out there and executing, exactly what it is. Like I said, like they were energized and they were ready to go and they were making plays and their crowd was in it and they have good players too. So they made their plays when they did. Luckily, like I said, we were able to capitalize a little bit and just get points here and there, get 3 points here and there whenever we weren't able to finish in the red zone.
I thought, considering the opponent, which is a good one, Kentucky is their defense in particular is really good against the run. That this was Joe Milton's best game from start to finish. I mean, that was an SEC opponent, and I thought he was efficient. There wasn't any sort of drop off whatsoever. He was accurate, made a couple of deep balls. I thought this was his best game. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I don't watch his film, right? And you don't really know how you do until you watch the film. It's never quite as good, never quite as bad. But I do feel like Joe had a really good game, and I was very happy and very proud with him after the game. We shared a moment and just talked about, like, yeah, hey, that was a great win. Like I told him he played amazing, and he echoed that back to me, and it was just good to see him, kind of put that game together that he's been wanting for a while now.
What did you think of Dante Thornton, who had a couple of catches? And I guess it's the media's fault. Guys like me talk about him coming into this program, and I think everybody thought he's just going to step in and be Jalen Hyatt just immediately and ready to go at the slot. But he's had some ups and downs this year, but really came through against Kentucky. What do you think of his development?
He did, yeah, and I think that is accurate to say that he comes in and there's automatically these expectations and this pressure and this if he's not doing this or doing that, then he whatever we shouldn't have got him, all this stuff. Like there's going to be talks everywhere, and I'm just happy with again how he's kind of put his head down and obviously had some struggles just in the past, whether it's a focus deal or just a details thing or whatever. But he came out and man, made some really big plays for us yesterday. it's cool to see him catch the ball and be able to make those plays because the kid's super talented, super fast, like just really good ball in his hand. So yeah, it was definitely exciting to see and look forward to seeing it more. I think that that's just a stepping stone for him. Now he's going to get that confidence to be able to go do it every week.
Yeah, and when you look at him, as much that was expected from him, I think people need to realize that he was a junior and he's adapting to a new system. So,
Yeah.
how much more development do you think he's got in terms of just feeling comfortable in the system and being able to continue to make big plays?
For sure, yeah. A guy like that is still, he's not new, he's not a young guy, right? But still has some room to improve, just like we all do, and just understanding the system, understanding how he fits into it, understanding, when he needs to. I don't know, all these little detailed things that just kind of take time, right? And things that I haven't learned, and again, I'm still continuing to learn, but things that I haven't learned until this year about how to play in the system and how to be successful and how to give myself the best shot of making plays. And I've been in the system for this is my third year now, so I think just giving him time and allowing him to find himself within the system is just part of it.
You're one of the guys out there blocking for Dylan Sampson at times,
Mhm.
and I'm going to single him out for just a second. I don't mean
Yeah.
that to take away anything from any of the other two tailbacks, but my goodness, he made a ton of plays after contact. He just continues to emerge, get stronger and better, and that guy's a pretty special player.
Yeah. Ironic, I guess, that he wears number 6, but it reminds you a lot of a guy that we've had in the past, and just their balance and just the way he's able to bounce off people. And he's not a big guy, right? So I guess maybe that might help him, right, in the sense of being a little bit harder to take down or whatever. But just his balance and his vision and just the way that he runs the ball, he runs so hard for how big he is, and I don't know if people don't realize how well he breaks tackles, and so maybe they don't wrap him up as I don't really know. But yeah, the guy's slippery, and he's a really good back, and man, continues to make the best of the opportunities that he's given, regardless of how many. Right? He goes out there and he just puts on a show, and we don't win that game. Honestly, we don't, or we don't. We might win the game, but it'd be a different story if he's not out there on that drive making all those plays that he made, um, to go, kind of put it away towards the end there.
Yeah, and you were referring to Alvin Kamara, who wore number 6 as well, and I do see shades of him. He was kind of lost in the shuffle a little bit going back to the Florida game. What does it say about his maturity that he kept his head down, kept working when maybe he was a little bit frustrated without as many carries as he wanted?
Yeah, he's a guy that I never really question in that department, just because he. And maybe we've talked about it. I think we probably have, just with his involvement on the leadership council and with this whole leadership role that he's kind of developed, really quickly within the offense of, hey, yeah, he might be a second year guy and not really have, as much experience as everybody else or whatever, but he steps up and he speaks his mind, and he, you know, does what the program asks him to do. He does everything that we're asked to do, and shows up on time and is trusted, and works really hard. And yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he's willing to go through whatever for the betterment of the team, and just for whenever he gets his opportunity, just make the best of it.
The Vol Report is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. And enjoy life better when you see better. Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn is your home for both cataract surgery and LASIK surgery. Look at me. LASIK, no contacts, no glasses, and certainly love that. So ccteyes.com, ccteyes.com, or you can click right down below and take care of that. Your bounce back ability continues to amaze me. You can suffer what just seems like a heartbreaking loss, and it would be normal, maybe not okay with you guys, but it would be normal and understandable if there's a hangover factor, but there just never is. No matter how you guys slip up the week before, you're so mature and come back and play your best game. Sometimes after a loss, which is really, I think, says a lot about your maturity.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's the quality of a team that is very good to have. There's going to be times when you lose, man. It's very rare in this game that someone just wins every single one of them. And when you do, like, yeah, it's pretty special. But um, you know, that's just how it is, right? You lose games, and life is not about wins and losses, right? In this business, it is for sure, and in what we're doing, it is about wins and losses. But being able to just move on from things and understand that yeah, you might lose a game, you might have an opportunity that gets away from you. It's just a matter of not allowing that to affect the next one. And that's kind of just the motto of this team is, next play mentality is, if you mess up a play, all right, get up off the ground and go try to make the next one a better one, right? And that's the same mentality that it goes for, all right, you have a bad week or you lose a game. All right, let's get up, let's go to work, let's get to the next one. And that's really all that matters is just going 1-0 every week. And by the end of it, if you do that, you'll be really successful. So
Want to get back to one thing about Dylan Sampson real quick. I know you're on the field, you're not watching on a big screen TV or from the press box. You have a different vantage point altogether. But when he's able to break 2-3 tackles and turn at one point should have been a 2-yard loss into like an 8-yard gain.
yeah.
Does that ignite you guys? What kind of effect does that have?
It does 100%. It ignites you and makes you play harder. I think there's a couple times where, I'm in the game last night where, um, maybe looks I block somebody or I'm running my route and the ball gets handed off and I look back and looks like he's getting tackled, right? And you know that naturally the natural instinct is to kind of whoa up and to slow down and get ready to move on to the next play after he gets tackled. But then you see him break a tackle, right? And you're like, oh wow, he's still going. Like I need to go try to block somebody. And there was a time I very vividly remember last night of being in that space of like, okay, he got tackled. Oh no, he didn't. And then I turned to block, and by the time I turned to block, right, the guy's blown by me going to make the play on. And it's frustrating to me because like that kid's fighting his butt off, right, to go and to execute and to get all those extra yards. And I'm sitting here watching it, right? So I think that it definitely motivates me and ignites me to go and just continue to fight through the whistle because, you really truly never know with our backs about, when they're going to break one or when they're going to need just one extra block to kind of, or maybe just getting in the way of somebody, just slowing them down and letting them accelerate and get full head of steam. It goes a long way. So
We haven't talked about this guy a lot as a person. And frankly, I still don't know much about him as a player, but I know a little bit more seeing Chaz Nimrod
mhm,
make that play last night,
yeah.
and I look at him and I wonder what's his ceiling. How good can he be, and what do you think of him as in the way he approaches the game?
Yeah, he's a guy that has been asked to step into a role. Obviously with Brew going down, a really really big role, right? Being able to make plays in the perimeter, being a guy that we can look to be consistent, to catch first downs, not just catching big touchdowns, but just catching the ball and being able to go and make plays after the catch and be able to block on the perimeter and do all those things that the wide receivers are asked to do in this offense. And yeah, he's stepping up. He's rising to the occasion. Obviously, he made the play last night, and I think he's truly becoming more comfortable with his role, understanding that yeah, he does have to step up and he does have to make some big plays for us. And it's not necessarily pressure, right? It's just a matter of opportunity for him. The same way that Dylan, gets opportunities, right? Whenever you're out there, and whether it's new or it's not, you're out there. So you can't act like a freshman when you're out there, and Chaz isn't, right? But you can't act like a young guy when you're out there because you're on the field, you're out, you're doing what we all came here to do. So he's doing a good job adapting and just adjusting and getting ready to make these big plays as we go through the backstretch of the season.
I thought it was interesting to see what Josh Heupel decided to do with that outside receiver position.
Mhm.
And I think in our minds on the outside, we had Dante Thornton just chalked into that slot role, but he did play out wide a little bit as well. What do you think about the parts you have there to fill out three wide receivers along with the tight end look?
Yeah, I think it's cool that you've got guys like Dante that can work in and out, can play the slot, can also play outside. I think Chaz is a guy that can also play the slot, and just being able to rotate those guys so that they stay healthy, they stay, fresh. Definitely finding ways to, change up kind of how we play the game. Whether it's moving the slots outside or moving the bigs, wherever. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think just as we move forward, continue to find how that works in our offense is going to be the key to using those guys.
And when I look at your football team, clearly based, and it has been, but sometimes with Jalen Hyatt streaking down the field and a Hendon Hooker completing touchdowns downfield. It looks like a passing offense or some sort of run and shoot or not. But being grounded in fundamentals of running the football, that's got to be something that when you're still searching for who you are offensively, has to be a pretty awesome thing to be able to lean on fundamentally.
100%. I think that the game of football is not a thing without the run game, right? I think that it's really hard to be super successful, at least in this league, if you can't run the ball efficiently and effectively. And like you said, man, whenever things aren't, we're still trying to figure something out, or we're a little bit unclear about, where we need to go on a certain, certain situation. Let's hand the ball off. Like, let's trust our backs. Let's trust our offensive line, our tight ends, to go be able to do what we've done all season. And that's move people, create space, and the backs going and being able to make plays just with their given abilities. So
Jay, you face UConn this week. It's a little break from SEC action. I don't want to take anything away from UConn, but I believe they're 1-7. To be able to get away from the SEC for just a little bit
yeah.
at this point of the season, how much can that help your body and help the mental drag of the season at times?
Like you said, not to take anything away from anybody. This week is just as important as any other week, right? And I think you'll hear that from anybody. Um, I said it before, like anybody can win on any given day. So I think where you get in trouble, where a big team like Tennessee gets in trouble with a UConn is just not attacking this week the same way that we have whenever we played Alabama, whenever we played Kentucky. You have to go in. You got to study the film. You got to make sure you're taking care of your body. Make sure you're working out. Making sure your bodies are ready to go. Because yeah, it's not going to be a break for us if we don't go out there and handle business. Now, if we do go out there and handle business and put ourselves up by a comfortable enough lead, then the starters can kind of get a little bit of a rest in the back end of the game. But if you don't take care of the first half, you don't take care of the game, then you don't get that you don't get that half football break, right? You don't get that. So yeah, it'll just be a challenge to be able to stay locked in and continue to push the details and to push all these things that we've been doing for the past, what, I guess, eight weeks now.
It was an impressive win, I thought, for a couple of reasons. The way you guys came out, the way you guys controlled the game, and then bouncing back from, I know, had to be a heartbreaking loss the week before. So I was very impressed. He is Jacob Horan. I'm Dave Hooker. The Vol Report with Jacob is brought to you by Doctors Campbell, Cunningham, Taylor, and Hahn. LASIK cataract surgery by local doctors that truly care about you. Enjoy life better when you see better. This has been a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.